nice to meet you. And I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Jack Jacob Saparzadeh, and I was born in Iran. And I'll tell you a little bit about that if you guys are not familiar with the country. I was born in 1970. So when I was 8 years old, when I was you guys' age, one day my parents, somebody grabbed me from my bed, and we left our house. We closed the door, and we didn't take anything, we didn't pack anything, everything was the same. We closed the door and we left. And we went through the desert to get to America. And it took us 2 years to get here. We went through Afghanistan. I don't know if you guys hear in the news. We went through Afghanistan, we went to Pakistan. We were in Pakistan for 2 weeks, and then we went to Vienna, that's in Europe, and we stayed there for 1.5 years till we got to America. And we were refugees here. The American government accepted us as refugees, as immigrants in the United States. And when we left, we went through the desert. At first we went on camels, and we had people from the desert that brought us. And it was very exciting and very scary at times. But basically, when I was your age, I left my country with my family, and left my school, and left my friends, and my home, and my room, and my toys, and everything, and we came here. And when I came here, I didn't speak English, and I couldn't read or write, and my parents put me in a private school, and the kids, it was after I speak, I'll let you guys ask any questions. And they put me in a private school, and it was mostly rich kids in this private school. And because we were refugees, my parents talked to them, and they said, could you help us, because we don't have money, this and that. And they gave me a scholarship, basically, aid, to go to this rich private school. And it was the first time in my life, at that moment, that I was confronted with the idea of race, and that I'm from a different, what race I am. Because in Iran, everyone was Iranian. So everyone, that's how you associated people. It didn't matter if you were light-skinned, dark-skinned, you were Iranian. And when I came here for the first time, I was in this rich school. It was mostly American white kids. And for the first time, I was confronted with this idea that I'm of a different race and who I am. So it was very difficult for me. And kids made fun of me because I didn't speak English. I looked different than everybody. And it was very difficult for me. And every night I went home and I begged my parents to get me out of the school. And after I got kicked out of the first school because the kids picked on me and I fought. And they put me in another religious school. This one was even more religious than the first one. And it was the same thing. Everyone made fun of me. The teachers were not nice to me. And I was treated like an outcast, basically. And I realize now it was because of what I look like and where I was from. So that was the first time in my life that I was confronted with the idea of racism. And at the time I didn't know it was racism. I didn't know what it was. I just thought I was not good, you know, and that's why they didn't like me. But now I realize that it was because of where I was from and what I looked like. So I begged my parents, and they finally put me in a public school right next to my house, called Rosewood Avenue School. And at this school, I met my best friends to this day. My best friend, Gerald Cohen, he's from Morocco. And I had a teacher named Miss Posner. This lady, Miss Posner, God bless her, she was the greatest influence on my life. When I got to her, I did not know how to read and write English, because at the private school I was at, they didn't really care. They just passed me because they wanted to get their tuition. She knew I was smart, so she didn't put me in ESL. She would teach me during recess how to read and write. And this lady was an angel, amazing, amazing woman. And not only did she do that, she taught me something that I want to talk to you guys about today. The importance of reading. And that's, for me, someone who came here and I didn't speak English, and it was very difficult for me to learn, and most teachers just classified me as stupid. The reason I got to get where I am today, and I have my own business, and I'm successful, it was because of Miss Posner teaching me at that age to read. And it doesn't matter what you read. If you're into music, if you're into hip hop, if you're into skateboarding, whatever you're into, every day for 10-15 minutes, even if it's just a paragraph, read something on that subject. The reason it's important to read is because to dream something, to want to aspire to something, to become something, first you have to be able to see it. And the best way to see it is to read about other people who've done it and lived it. And then you could envision it and you could achieve it. Things that have inspired me growing up here was, I read the book, The Autobiography of Malcolm X. And this book completely changed my life. I used to get in trouble. I got arrested. I went to jail. I did all the things you're not supposed to do. I smoked cigarettes. I was not on a good path. I got in a lot of car accidents. And when I read this book, and I was so angry inside at the kids in school who made fun of me and at the teachers and all this stuff. And I just kept expressing that anger. And when I read the autobiography of Malcolm X, I saw that this was a person who was basically an orphan. He didn't know how to read and write. He was a criminal. He committed crimes. And he taught himself. And when I saw that this person with this kind of background, whose background was much worse than mine, he was much older and he didn't know how to read and write. And he was able not only to learn these things, but to become such a great person. By reading about that, I realized that I could do that too. That doesn't matter that my parents are immigrants. Doesn't matter that all these are just excuses. That basically, if I could see something, I could do it. Importance of choice and growing up in Iran, I'll go back to that. We had the government over there. People basically don't have choices. Like if the girls here, you don't have the choice. You have to cover your hair right now. Like if you're at school, you have to wear a hair covering. So we don't have the freedoms and the choices we have here. And being from somewhere like that, where the government and the police are always telling you what to do, what to wear, what to say, where to go, I realized how lucky we are. We live in a country where we really have choices. And the reason I say why that's important, because as you guys grow up, a lot of people are going to try to take those choices away from you. You're going to have friends that are going to influence you to do things that are not best for you. And if you allow them to do that, if you allow your friends to influence you to smoke cigarettes, to do drugs, to do things you're not supposed to, not study, to not get good grades, you're not making that choice. They're making that choice for you. And I wish I had learned this when I was younger, because I let a lot of opportunities go by. I failed in high school. I didn't go to a good college. And all these opportunities that I could have had, I didn't. And because I let other people and other things make the choices for me. And the greatest gift that we have as human beings that sets us apart from animals is the fact that we could choose. But you could only make that choice if it's a conscious choice. If you're aware, like if, for example, if I come tell you after school, let's go have a cigarette, instead of just doing it, you first become aware of your choice, that you could either go or not go. And once you do that, once you become aware of that, the two choices, you will automatically make the right choice. Because your body, your essence, which is, you guys were in a church, is godly, is pure, will always want to do what is good for it, as long as it has the choice. Don't let anyone say, because of your circumstance, because of how much money you have, because of who you are, what you look like, that you can't have that. I mean, we have a president right now that 5 years ago even, if they said there's going to be an African-American president, people would laugh at you. And it was a joke. It was kind of a joke that that's not possible. And he showed, because everything I'm telling you, he did. He realized, he made the right choices. He educated himself. And he didn't let anyone tell him what is not possible.